This is General Math Video 2, Inequalities and the Number Line. This is going to be a short video because if you go back to the comparing numbers video, we talked about these four symbols. Greater than, less than, greater or equal to, and less than equal to. And in the previous video, we talked about the number line. In the next couple of units, okay, when we get into data and statistics, when we get into algebra, it's going to be important for us to know about inequalities and the number line, and eventually we'll relate inequalities to the coordinate plane. But for now, we're just looking at the number line. If I said that some number, we're going to say x, is less than 3, it means that we are going to be okay with any value less than 3. How do we show that? How do we give it a visual? One of the things that we have to know is that if it's greater or less than, 3 isn't included. So if we have x as 3, 3 isn't less than 3. So we're going to use an open circle to show that that number, that value, is not included. And by not included, I mean in all the possible answers, 3 cannot be used here for x. So if we go 3, we're going to put an open circle there, and then we draw an arrow. The arrow is going to be based off of where our numbers for possible answers are. Since it's less than, we draw an arrow pointing to the left. Remember, smaller to larger. But if it's greater or equal to, we're going to use a closed circle. And that's because our value is included. If we say that x is greater than or equal to 5, we find 5, we put a closed circle on it, and because x is greater, instead of going to the left, we now put the arrow to the right. These aren't the only possible combinations that we could have. We could have a compound inequality. And if you're wondering what a compound inequality is, it is where we have a number being compared to two other values. So let's take a look. If I say that negative 15 is less than t, and t is less than or equal to 2, we would find negative 15, positive 2. I'm not drawing this to scale. 15, since there is no equal sign, we have an open circle. Since this is less than or equal to, we now have a closed circle. So open and closed. 15 is less than t, but t is less than 2. So less than, this is really kind of like greater than. So that means this is our range of values for t. Let's look at another example. What if I say x is greater than 10 and x is less than or equal to 1? Well, here's 1. It's less than or equal to, so I'm going to put a closed circle, and it's less than, so I go to the left. Here's 10. It's an open circle. X is greater, and goes to the right. You're probably wondering what situation that would be. We're not going to worry about that right now. We are just looking at how would we represent these on the number line. So we can either have the arrows pointing out and away from each other, like we see here. We could have them pointing towards each other and connecting, like we saw in that previous example with t. But I do want to contrast this real quick with x equals 8. If that's all you have is the equal sign, there's only one possible answer. Here's 8, and you just put a closed dot. It doesn't go to the left, to the right. There is no arrow. It is just a single point.